It's time for us as human beings to stop acting like a bunch of animals who have no sense of direction, while even animals have a sense of direction. An animal lives to eat and continue the timeline of its generation or its bloodline or whatever. But human beings, we live and to fulfill our passions, when it's not necessarily wrong for us to enjoy our life and have fun. But the thing is, we're placing that fun, that self-pleasure, in place of our purpose, which isn't good. We're placing that pleasure as if that is the purpose of our life. But our pleasures are generally, most of the time, sinful pleasures. Because sin is defined as this, right? Sin is defined as something that we do in order to fulfill our own desire. Our own desire, nothing else. It's just selfish, and it doesn't lead to the benefit of anything else but your own ego. And that's the way human beings are functioning in this day. Of course, every single human being is guilty of committing this crime. We've all committed the crime of selfishness. We've done things that we didn't really care about anyone else but ourselves. Point of what I'm saying is, we're living in this way, and it won't lead us towards the greater good. And of course, the greater good is God. We're not doing anything that brings us closer to God. We're lost. We're lost. We don't know what to do to bring us closer to God. Some of us don't even believe in God, or we question whether there is really something to lead us towards God. But I say this to you right now, there is something that leads us towards God. As archetypes of God, we need to learn to cooperate with each other for the greater good. Cooperate with each other not to fulfill the passions of ourselves, but to bring the world, society, existence as a whole to something greater. Right now, I feel like human beings are acting with a sense of psychology that goes with herd mentality. We see someone do something and then we follow that because we don't know whether that thing is good or not for ourselves. We see it benefiting someone else and we follow it, and we see it benefiting someone else, and not every time we see something that we're right is not necessarily correct, because our lens, our eyes are subjective. We see things in terms of ourselves. So you see how it all goes back. It all revolves around ourselves. We need to stop fulfilling and living towards ourselves. We need to deny ourselves, as Jesus Christ told us. Deny ourselves, and that will bring us towards the greater good. When we live life, the number one thing that we need to learn in life, I believe, is to deny ourselves and to live for something greater than ourselves. Because we need to be honest to ourselves as well. Am I really something? Are we really something without society? We're nothing without anything else. We need the community. We need communion. We need to cooperate with each other, with society, with nature, with everything, in order to be something. You cannot be anything without something. If we don't learn to do this, if we don't learn to work with each other towards the greater good and deny our passions, the world will go nowhere. The world will just continue to be on its continuous path of desolation, as it is right now, sort of. And we see some sort of rise in people who are starting to see this truth, right? Recognize this truth. People who want to be greater, want to push themselves towards something greater by going to the gym, by lifting heavy weights, and not necessarily by taking steroids as well, because steroids are destroying ourselves, and we're doing steroids for ourselves, so it's also something selfish. Steroids are not good. And I don't know if you guys know this, but I am actually writing a book, and one chapter in the book, it discusses the relationship between rational object and rational subject. And rational object is defined as something like a tree. A tree is an object. It doesn't have a personality, but it has a rationality. It has a purpose of being. And rational subject, a subject is something that has a personality. It has a goal. It has multiple purposes to strive for. And human beings are rational subjects. Everything is rational. Everything has a purpose of being. If it doesn't have a purpose of being, there's no purpose for it to be anyway. It doesn't exist. And everything that has a rationality has a being. It has an essence, a life. And the purpose of that chapter in my book as well is to discuss how human beings, as the people or the archetype of God, that to the rational objects within the world, we bring a higher purpose to those things, and we lead creation towards a greater good. And you guys might have seen the YouTube shorts about the problem of evil being a problem of humanity rather than a problem that God is meant to face, whilst God himself has actually faced the problem of evil. But the problem of evil is something that man is meant to face ourselves. We have the responsibility to bring the greater good into the world, because nothing else has the power to go beyond itself. Only the human being has the ability to move towards something greater than itself. Animals, trees, objects. Animals are objects, of course. They are some sort of subject, but they aren't as high of a subject as human beings. Animals, we use animals to feed ourselves in order to preserve ourselves, to preserve the life of human beings. We sacrifice one life to bring life to something greater. And that's why the sacrifice of animals is okay, because it brings forth a greater purpose. I'm not, obviously, as you can tell, I am not a vegetarian. I'm not against killing animals in order to feed human beings. But yes, the problem of evil, as I was saying, is more so of a problem of man, because man has the responsibility to bring things towards a greater good. But God as well, God has done this. God has planted the foundations for man to build a greater good. God has came down unto earth as Jesus Christ, of course, and he has died for our sins, making a way for us to rise back up to the position that we were meant to be in with God, cooperating with him and bring the world to a greater position. And of course, the only place where we can cooperate with God in a perfect unity, in a perfect union, is the church. What is the true church? It is the Eastern Orthodox Church.